here at 318 South Washington Street in Shelby, North Carolina at the Don Gibson Theater. We're going to travel back in time to 1939 to learn about how it started, and then we're coming forward and learn about the Don Gibson Theater, what it is now, entertaining people from all across the country. Let's go take a look. The Don Gibson Theater has a tremendous amount of history, doesn't it, Stan?
It does, and we're celebrating our 10th year this year as the Don Gibson Theater, but history goes back even further. The theater was actually an old movie house built in 1939, and so the theater turns a birthday in a couple different ways, but mainly the Don Gibson Theater.
Sure. So when we going back in time, what is a movie theater? What type of theater was it?
It was just a movie house, typical of the time. 1939 was a significant year in many ways. Gone with the Wind came out that year, and The Wizard of Oz, and Mr. What's his name goes to Washington.
Yeah.
All of those movies were in 1939, and
a lot of classic,
and a lot of standards that people remember the movie industry for. Was 1939.
So this was a state theater too, right?
It was. It was called the State Theater.
But it was always movies at that time, right?
That is correct. And you know, back in the 40s and early 50s, they had all the traveling cowboys and all of that stuff. Roy Rogers and a lot of the old-time cowboys actually made a stop here as well.
So their movies would be playing, and they would stop in.
That's right. They would advertise. You know, that was good advertisement for them at the time, and the movies would be playing, the cowboys would be here live.
Let's talk about that restoration project that you went through, because this is a special segment series on the Carolinas Theater Trail, and we're visiting theaters that have historic significance. So you have it in the time and being one of the original state theaters, but you've done something else now. You've brought this to life as a performance stage. Talk about that, if you would, and how did that happen?
The plans were to tear down the State Theater, or the Flick Theater at the time, and they were going to turn it into a parking lot, and maybe the police station would have some extra room and all of that. And a group of citizens got together and formed a nonprofit organization called Destination Cleveland County. They wanted to do something to bring some energy back into the town, bring some vitality back to the town, raise the quality of life for folks that live here, and I think they did a fantastic job. And they had a couple ideas, and one of them was the Don Gibson Theater. Don Gibson was a singer-songwriter from the early 50s through 1970. He had hits all the way through the 70s, and but he is from Shelby. And so what better way to bring energy and bring vitality back and as to talk about one of their own. So Don Gibson was the choice.
So that's how it happened. That's how the name came about.
That's right.
But what was that journey like? The process. What had to be done to bring this place to what it is now?
Well, it sat dormant for a while. Nothing had been done structurally. Nothing had been done ergonomically in any way, or no design changes at all. The biggest process was finding out what we could use and what we could not use in the theater. And I think the designers did a fantastic job as far as keeping that look and that feel. So we kept the silver bands throughout the theater like the old State had. We kept the colors were really close. We've got photos that go back all the way to the 40s, and so we had to guess at some of those. It was black and white, but the colors, we tried to mimic that scheme. We tried to keep that retro feel throughout the theater.
What's your one thought, your one message to the people who support the theater of why it's important?
Well, I think that they bring art into people's lives. And look at this stage. You know, the thing they always call stages in the old days was the boards. We're on the boards, you know, and so you have a wooden stage. It's perfect. That's traditional.
How important are these type of places, do you think?
I think that when you have a classic place like this, and you are able to say, well, it used to be a movie theater, but if you say, wait a minute, we can do something with this.
Right.
You know, people will come to this thing, and so that's probably a wonderful thing for people around here that some people might take for granted, but as soon as they walk into this place and see something really special, and I imagine you've had all kinds of things here, all kinds of events and concerts and all kinds of stuff, and I think that's not only preserving the past, but it's preserving the past with a real interest in the now and in the future.
Right.
You know, this place is going to outlive all of us. You know?
That's pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just going to keep going.
Talk about how the Don Gibson Theater, now that it's up and going well, tell me how it's affected the community.
Well, it's affected the community in a lot of ways. One I talked about a little bit earlier, we wanted to raise the quality of life for folks. And, you know, you think of quality of life as, you know, make sure you have the right medicines, make sure you have this, make sure you have that. But also it's entertainment. If your music has a way of crossing boundaries for folks and bringing the whole thing up just a little bit. The other ways economically is one of the bigger factors, I think, for the area. At the time, we were one of the poorest counties in North Carolina. But I think bringing vitality back to the area, bringing vitality and bringing the economic standards a little bit higher. We also have entertainment. We have, you know, we have new walking trails. We have a lot of things.
It's a nice place to live.
Yeah, it's a nice place to live.
And
So
visit.
That's right.
And visit. Life is good.
Yes. At the last second, I seemed to find what I was looking for. But
As long as you found
I
it.
enjoyed it. Thank you, Carl. It's a pleasure.
One more time. I don't like spiders and snakes, and that ain't what it takes to love me like I wanna be loved by you. It's true, I wanna be loved by you. Thank you, folks. Yeah, come back now, you hear?